Hey everybody, welcome to another Shop Talk webinar. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Amir and I'm here today with Mark Carroll and Elizabeth Fabozzi who are joining me. So we've got a lot of things to cover. So let's go ahead and get going. I'm just going to share my screen here. So Shop Talk 7, this is what we've got going for you guys today. I will be going back to what I discussed last Shop Talk a little bit about backing up and restoring. This time I'm going to be focusing on Catalina. A great question was raised last time by Tom, who's running on Catalina, and I know a lot of you guys are doing that as well. And the problem, of course, with Catalina, no more iTunes, and that's what we were using to process the backup. So we've got more information about that. And then we will be handing it off to Elizabeth, who will be talking to us about virtual staging and floor plans, as well as TrueSketch. And then we'll be talking about MatterPak and everything that that has to offer and how to take advantage of those files for anybody in that industry, and that'll be handled by Mark Carroll. So a lot of things to cover, and we want to go through this as quickly as possible, so of course we can address all of your questions at the end. So let's go ahead and get going.
Welcome Matterporters, thanks for joining us again. In this video, I wanted to very quickly just go over how to back up and restore if you're using Catalina. You may remember in the last Shop Talk, we went over how to back up and restore using iTunes, which is something that's no longer supported if you are using Catalina. So let's go ahead and dive right in and see how using Catalina you can back up and restore your critical model data. As with any operating system, I have to connect the iPad or iPhone via the USB cable to my computer. So I've already got that done. Now I can go into my operating system and just launch Finder. I'll just go ahead and expand this a little bit. And you can see over here under locations is my iPad. So I'll just click on that. And if this is the first time you're connecting your iPad to Catalina, you'll have a sync option. You just press that button and then you'll see everything that I can see here right now. Just as before with iTunes, I'm not going to press the backup now option. I don't want to back up the entire iPad. I'm just looking for the jobs folder within Capture. So I'll go into Files right here and then expand Capture. And you can see that, again, just as with iTunes, I have access to the jobs folder and the database files. So I'll go ahead and back these up. I'll just drag the jobs folder onto my desktop, let that fully copy over. Unfortunately, we don't have a status bar of that copying process as we did before, so give it a bit of time to fully copy over. And just as before, to be on the safe side, I'm going to copy over my database files as well. So this is how you can use the Finder in Catalina to copy everything over onto your computer. Now, as with any backup, as I mentioned in the last video, it is wise to have this in more than one location. So have that external hard drive or cloud account where you can copy this over into, so it's not just on your computer. Now I want to open up iExplorer and, as before, really focus on a single model or multiple models within the jobs folder. The Finder will not allow me to do that, just as iTunes did not allow me to do that. So I've downloaded and installed iExplorer, and I'll go ahead and launch it now. And you'll notice that as soon as I launch this, it comes up with instructions on how to go into my security and privacy settings to enable iExplorer to see everything inside Capture. So I'll go ahead and click here to open up the system preferences, and I have to unlock this. And then I can just check here and quit now. Now I'm all done here, and I can just get out of the system preferences and relaunch iExplorer. Now I'll continue with the demo. I'll expand apps just as I did before and Capture. Unlike the Finder window and iTunes and older versions of macOS, with iExplorer, I have access to see inside the jobs folder. And because everything else is really the same, I'll go ahead and link to the other video in the corner here, and you can just watch that at your convenience. I hope this information was helpful to anybody out there using Catalina, so now you too can back up and restore your critical model data.
So that video is going to be on YouTube. I'll obviously also link to the previous video if you, in case you missed that. It covers a little bit more about backing up, but because Catalina is a little bit different, I just wanted to kind of point that out and show you how to do that if you don't have access to iTunes anymore. So with that said, let's move it along to Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm doing quite well. I'm excited to be here this morning and to talk about some of the additional services we have here at Matterport. We're, so much more beyond that 3D tour. So excited to share with you guys some of those features that we offer.
That's perfect. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to go ahead and give you the presentation rights at this point. So, because I know you've got your own slideshow. Let me see, there you are.
All right, I think it looks like we've got the right window here. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I just want to say good morning and thank you for having me on this morning. I'm excited to talk about some of the additional services we have here at Matterport. Today I'm going to highlight three particular services: schematic floor plans, TrueSketch, and virtual staging. TrueSketch and virtual staging are both in beta programs currently. So I'm going to review how you can join that beta program and also when you can expect these items to really be productized and available right off of your My.Matterport platform. So let's jump in here. So I'm going to start today with schematic floor plans. This is an additional service we have on top of the Matterport 3D tour. They're professional black and white floor plans, and they're easily generated from any space directly from your My.Matterport account. So as soon as your scan is complete processing, you have the ability to order these schematic floor plans. Why would you order said schematic floor plans? They do lots of things for you, and they lend a lot of information to that 3D model. We know that the 3D models have things like measurement mode and the measurements on the workshop side, but it really is a nice deliverable to provide to either a real estate client, if you want to have a floor plan view available for any listing, professional photographers, the ability to order or offer this floor plan service will really increase your value. The beautiful thing about floor plans is, tons of industries use these types of floor plans. So you can help eliminate numbers of visits, maybe by subcontractors. If you're looking to do some redesign, you can just send out the schematic floor plan with the Matterport model, and hopefully we can get some estimates done offsite so you don't have, your tile person coming, you don't have a carpenter coming, you don't have your electrician coming, all to just kind of take measurements and get a feeling for the house. This is all available just from the 3D floor plan. When we talk about delivery times, the standard delivery time is 2 business days. But as we move into the future of Matterport, we're starting to offer what we call rushed floor plans for our enterprise clients, which is, we're working towards a 24-hour time frame for turnaround, a 12-hour time frame for turnaround, and a 6-hour time frame for turnaround. Those are the goals as we continue our schematic floor plan offering. So I kind of alluded to this in the previous slide, but how can I use a floor plan? So for a residential real estate agent, you can add these to your marketing portfolio to complete your listing presentation. You can acquire more sellers and engage buyers to ultimately lead to more sales. Schematic floor plans really lend to the 3D model to really help people understand the space. I alluded to this earlier, but professional photographers, being able to provide a schematic floor plan along with all of your, 2D high quality photos that you get from the Matterport model, the highlight reel that you get from the model, and the schematic floor plan. All together, they present really a wonderful package to present to your client. Redesign and renovation. Share your floor plan with subcontractors. This really works for redesign, again, helping to save time and allowing everybody to use the same types of information to make decisions. Lastly, I have restoration under here. If you're a restoration contractor on the call, you may know what I'm referring to here, but we have the ability to take our schematic floor plans and bring them in as underlay images in estimating software to help us estimate a little bit quicker and sketch out maybe a large loss a little bit faster than we would with just a piece of graph paper and some manual measurements. So this is kind of a full product detail page. You can just spend a minute kind of looking at it while I talk through some of these details. So again, we're working, so we have a 2-day delivery time, but we are working towards making that time a lot shorter. So again, working towards an express floor plan, a rush floor plan where we can offer it to you 24 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours. And we're hot on the heels of that goal. So please look out for further details on that. They come in 2 different file formats, the PNG format and the PDF format. Unfortunately, these are the only 2 formats that we currently come in, but we are actively working to try and export into other formats later on, maybe in Q4. The specs right now are, it's $14.99 for anything up to 10,000 square feet, and then anything between 10,000 square feet and 25,000 square feet, it's going to be double the price, or about $29. Currently, spaces over 25,000 square feet are not supported in the schematic floor plan. Here's just some FAQs. You guys can kind of read through this. I covered a lot of these earlier, is what formats do they come in. So they're going to come in PNG and SVG files. We can provide a PDF option that actually prints both options when you want to export them. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, those are the only formats we do deliver in. And then the default image PNG size is just written right here, 2730 by 2048 pixels. Pricing, I kind of covered on the other slide, but $14.99 for a standard under 10,000 square feet, $29.99 between 10 and 25, and then over 25 is not supported. These floor plans are actually charged directly on your credit card that's attached to your Matterport account. All right, now we're just going to switch up gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about a product called TrueSketch Plus. So this is a beta program that we have running here at Matterport. And this is really specifically for those in the insurance and restoration industry. As you guys all kind of look at what I'm presenting here, it's kind of a souped up floor plan. It really demonstrates the reality of the structure of the building. And then it also allows people to understand what structures need to be replaced and how much that might cost at the end. So this particular deliverable helps folks estimate and understand how much it will cost to repair a building that's been damaged. TrueSketch Plus is our SKX files that you can easily import into Xactimate. So Xactimate is a specific software in the insurance and restoration industry used to help estimate losses. So with these automatic files, you'll no longer have to measure or manually sketch losses. This saves you valuable time so you can improve, so you can process your insurance claims faster and more effectively. So traditionally, maybe a contractor would walk around with a piece of graph paper and sketch out and a laser measure and basically sketch out the entirety of the property and then translate that into the Xactimate software to help them estimate the costs of the loss. So what does a TrueSketch Plus really do? It calculates much more than just the schematic floor plan pieces. We want to understand things like door type, door height, ceiling type, ceiling height. Basically, all of these things, the way that they're represented, all represent a different cost. So a different door type will cost differently, or different ceiling types some are more expensive than others. So you can't just give the dimensions of the ceiling, but you also need to describe the ceiling in order to get that accurate estimate. So we've got a couple of different buckets of TrueSketch Plus. There's our 0 to 1,000 square feet at $249, 1 to 4 at $349, 4 to 10 at $599, and then we do a bid request over 10,000. There's a 2-day delivery time right now, so that's 48 hours from the time when you request the sketch. So one thing I want to discuss right here is that this is currently a beta program, and we're super excited to announce that we will be productizing TrueSketch, which will be renamed to TruePlan upon productization in the month of October. So that's some really exciting news for us because we're moving out of beta and we're really allowing customers to easily access our TruePlan. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys how to access TrueSketch if you want to use it. So the first thing you want to do is sign up for the beta program through the support page. You're going to have to sign a DocuSign addendum, and all that does is spell out pricing and delivery time, since TrueSketch isn't written into our current terms and conditions. So once this contract is signed, we'll send you an order form, and then from then on, you can use that order form to order your TrueSketch moving forward. So I'm going to go out of presentation mode here, and I'm going to go to our support page on TrueSketch and TrueSketch Plus. So the reason I did not discuss TrueSketch today is because we will not be moving forward with that option when we productize for TruePlan. And I won't get into too many details here, but TrueSketch Plus is an as-built accurate representation of a building. And that's what we thought customers would want more than a TrueSketch was just more of a defaulted version of the 3D model. So we can land on the TrueSketch support page here. You can read lots of details. You can look at videos to show you how to import them. But what we're going to do today is we're going to click this sign up here button, which will bring you to this beta sign up form. Fill that out. You will receive a DocuSign addendum. Once that is signed, you will receive this order form here, which you will fill out this form and then press submit. And then within 2 days, we will give you your sketch. So this is a very lengthy process due to the fact it is a beta program. So, next month, you will be able to order a TrueSketch the same way you order a floor plan. So just quickly so you guys know, this is a standard view of a My.Matterport account. Here's how you get the floor plan. You'll click that floor plan, and then in October, you'll see a little button here that says TrueSketch, and that's how you will order. All right, I'm just trying to be aware of time, make sure Mark gets enough time. So with that, we're going to go into virtual staging. This is a super exciting kind of new territory we're going into, and we've been in a couple of beta programs with 2 companies that have really shown some superb results and can really increase the value of your Matterport model. So here's just a definition of virtual staging, but all in all, it's just the ability to take objects and place them in a Matterport model so that they look like they're there in reality, and this will help you demonstrate the potential for the space. We're currently working with 2 different companies. One is Rumi, who's pretty well known in the space for digital and virtual staging. And then our other partner is a UK-based company called VRPM, who is also a Matterport service provider that they also offer capture services as well as staging services. So I want to show you guys some examples of what Matterport virtual staging actually looks like. So it's quite impressive to see. I'm actually going to show this one first. So believe it or not, this model right here has no real furniture in it. Everything you see here is completely staged from our partners. So this was a completely empty apartment ahead of time. And now you can see it's beautifully furnished. And this was done by VRPM, which is our staging partner in the UK. And then over here, again, you can see, and with this one, I already have it queued up to show you what the space looked like prior to virtual staging. And then we gave it to our roomie counterparts who really made just a totally beautiful space in 3D. So how do I kind of gain access to this stuff? So to sign up for these virtual staging, you can go to our partner's website, vrpm.co.uk/staging, and you can book a virtual staging or tour. They do both commercial spaces and residential spaces. So if you're especially looking to repopulate your office under COVID guidelines, these are a great team to reach out to help you understand different layouts for your company. The second one is virtual staging through Roomie. So you can just go to roomie.com. You can kind of scroll down to the bottom here, and you'll see they're offering for Matterport 3D tours, and you can contact them through there. Pricing really ranges by square footage and by partner. So right now, it's anywhere between about $350 to $1,000 for the virtual staging. But the beautiful thing is with virtual staging, you stage it once and you have it forever. It's not like traditional staging where you're going to need to return the furniture at the end or pay, for another month's rent of that furniture. So I know that was a lot of information at one time, and I want to make sure Mark has enough time. So I'm going to stop here. I want to thank you all. Please, write in if you have any questions. We're happy to answer them at the end of the call today. So thank you so much, and off to you, Mark.
That's great. Thanks so much for all that information, Elizabeth. That was brilliant. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners are going to have a lot of questions to follow up. Okay. So, Mark, how's it going?
Great. How you doing today? Hey, everyone.
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I know you had to go into the office to be with us. MatterPaks. What can you tell us about MatterPaks?
Well, the first thing I want to start off with is the Pro 2 camera and the BLK 360 that we support at Matterport. But I'm going to focus on our Pro 2, which I have behind me. Every single time that device is used, it captures 3D data. So that means even a home for real estate sales, all the way to a construction site or a manufacturing facility, so every single time this Pro 2 is operated, it's capturing 3D data, because it's not just snapshots. All kinds of tools out there, even cell phones will do panoramas, 360 pictures. We all get that, but taking this imaging data, are you doing real measurements too? And the answer is, with Matterport's Pro 2, yes, you are. So what I'm going to do is go through how a person would take the MatterPak out of their scan. It's totally optional. It's not necessary for all users. But if a person is familiar with different 3D CAD programs, like different Autodesk programs like AutoCAD or Revit, or something like SketchUp or AutoCAD, all kinds of programs, even different gaming engines who might use a mesh. What I'm going to go to and show in just a second is how a person goes in and does this, but I want you to pay attention to the actual file formats that we deliver, because like Elizabeth said before, some users will say, can you do, let's say, a DWG file for AutoCAD? I don't make that, and we don't make that file exactly, but yes, a person can absolutely make a DWG file out of our information. And so what I'll show is the process from the beginning at my.matterport.com all the way to an example in Revit. And it's just a short little presentation of just several minutes, but it's going to cover all those sections about how that's done. Great. So to start off with where I'm at is I've logged into my.matterport.com. So this is a view of a folder that I made for my DBO team here in Chicago. And I have this for quick reference so they can say, here's an example of what were you doing. But this is that lobby I'm talking about. It's here in Chicago. You could have it in any city in the world. I want you to pay attention to the shapes of these walls. They're curved walls. So if your job was to go in there and accurately represent these walls, these curved walls would take a very long time. We're using the different kinds of hand tools. It's difficult. So on the page, I've just downloaded the MatterPak. And the MatterPak comes in a zip file. What I'm doing here is I'm making a separate folder, and then inside of the zip folder, I'm manually copying all these files and placing them locally on my computer. Different zip file programs can help you through this process without having to cut and paste. I sped this up slightly, so it takes a little bit of time, but the file size of this is about 500 megabytes coming out of the zip file. Very small compared to lasers. This view right here is the texture files. So this is the inside of the MatterPak. These texture files, as well as the XYZ file, and here is the OBJ file, the mesh file. So we have both types, point cloud and mesh, as well as some of these two-dimensional outputs, floor plan, ceiling plan. Now, they're not the same as the floor plan schematics, but you're getting a unique view that you can get from the MatterPak. Here in Recap, what we're doing is I'm taking the entire folder. So Recap is Autodesk's program for bringing in three-dimensional data into their programs. This is their process. So I've selected the entire MatterPak that I've unzipped, and I'm now selecting that for importing into Recap. Now, Recap means reality capture, and this is the example that Autodesk uses. And what we're going to do is edit the information from this unique lobby. What you want to edit is your choice, but for this one, I'm going to say I'm going to make a floor plan. So I'm going to lower the ceiling and do edits to bring in the information. You're selecting the point cloud data that you want to use in Revit, or the person at the end of the line. And this is important when you capture. What do you need to see at the end of the line? You, the architect, the designer, what do you need to see at the end? And this is how you are guided when you capture in the field. But now I'm actually creating an RCP or an RCS, Recap Scan or Recap Project File. I'm going to do an RCS, but what we're doing is we're taking that MatterPak that I just showed, and we're essentially converting it into the file format that Autodesk uses best. We talked about a DWG file output, or maybe an RVT Revit file. Can you give me this? This is the process that Autodesk lays out to use three-dimensional data. So this is making another version, the file. What I've showed the MatterPak is now redundant. You can delete that. It's always on Matterport's website. Here I've gone into Revit as an example. This works with AutoCAD as well. And I'm simply opening up just a default page of a new document, and I'm grabbing that point cloud click. I'm finding the folder or the location of the RCS that I've already uploaded and created, and here it is. Now this is the top-down view. One can get in here, the information is there. I'm gonna go to the three-dimensional view here, and you'll show that our information is in this program. Now, the idea that a person, and that's it for that video there, but the idea here that we've gone into a location and we've captured the information quickly, 57 scan locations under 1 hour, and then we can take this three-dimensional data out and then bring it into various CAD programs, for example, like Autodesk's Recap, and then into Revit. So what I've just shown is every single scan, every single digital twin that's captured is able to gather three-dimensional data. So that makes sense in a lobby. I can see that information, but tell me more, Mark. Tell me an example of what is really necessary. Imagine if you need to get up the pipes in an MEP room or the vent work in an office system to make sure that it's being analyzed and cleaned. Whatever it's needed, anything that you capture and scan will be translated into 3D data. So I'm going to pause there for a second because I know that I can talk quickly. But just in summary, I'm going to say that every single digital twin that's captured with the BLK 360 that's supported, as well as the Pro 2 unit currently, with more to come, more options for that data ubiquity where we're capturing the built world. But the focus of the Pro 2, anytime this thing spins and rotates and captures data, it's capturing 3D data that can be turned into 3D data for your CAD program.
That's really impressive, actually. And so just to clarify, Mark, you know, when you're talking about the Matterport Pro 2 and the BLK capturing 3D data, you know, some people on the webinar right now may be using 360 cameras, or you know, even were introduced to Matterport. You know, when we launched the iPhone, those also create a 3D model, but why are those different? Why can't you get a MatterPak with that?
Absolutely. Well, Matterport is able to create this three-dimensional information. We are not having customers access three-dimensional output from, let's say, a Ricoh Theta Z1 or the smartphone capture just yet, because that information is not as accurate as a device like this. And here's why. This device behind me, the Pro 2, as well as supported devices like the BLK 360, those are, of course, gathering real, true measurements in the field. So when this thing scans, the infrared structured light sensor is gathering real measurements in real life. Now, the other devices that we support, like the 360 cameras and smartphone, those are trained on quite literally millions of captured spaces in the past, captured by this device and its predecessor, the original Pro model. So that data, that information, our AI is trained on it. So some say the word photogrammetry will apply to it, and it's not quite that because it's using all this 3D data. So why I'm saying this is it's very, very important to know that the two-dimensional information of a 360 camera is converted into 3D using Matterport's AI with its very, very large data set of 3D capture. However, in time, users will be able to use this information, because if I say this device is 99% accurate and I say a 360 is in the high mid-90s accurate, 92% is better than 0%. However, we want to make sure that the output is appropriate for the user's expectations as well. So we do have that ability, and we're working in that direction. But for now, people can rely on this three-dimensional capture tool to gather that reliable information in those tight areas in the construction field or other, you know, manufacturing fields and things like that.
Got it. Brilliant. Okay. So we want to get to your questions as quickly as possible. I just want to run through a couple of things for anybody who's not familiar with the Matterport website. If you go to matterport.com and you go to the resources tab, just below that is support. If you need any kind of help, that is the support hub. You'll have access to the help center with hundreds of articles of information, including all about the MatterPak and TrueSketch and all that. As well as, you're obviously more than welcome to give us a call. We'd love to help you out over the phone or via email. This phone number that you see on the screen right now is valid for the US. If you go to that support page under the resources tab, you'll see the phone number that's correct for your location in the world. It's just scroll down a little bit on that page and you'll see it there. We are now officially offering support during work hours, which is really nice for anybody in Asia. you know, as a rule of thumb, always, not just with Matterport, with anybody, make sure your profile information is up to date. It's how we know, it's how we get a hold of you, right? If there's anything that we need to send you a message on, we're going to send it to the email that's associated with that account. So if you want to receive said email, that information updated. And staying up to date with Matterport, super easy. Just go to facebook.com/Matterport. And what is it with Facebook? You don't sign up. It's like you subscribe or do something to just see what's up with the latest things there. Everything that's related to Matterport, we post on that page, so you'll know about it there. And you know, we also have a user group called Moog. It's a Matterport official user group, MOUG. And if you go there, that's also on Facebook. You'll notice a lot of people using Matterport in our community, sharing phenomenal spaces that they've been able to scan, which is tremendous, and we love that. If you have one of these spaces and you're willing to share it with us in our gallery, want it there, or in our Destination Everywhere site, please go to go.matterport.com/nominate-your-space, as you see here, and help us out. It'll be great. You know, you can have that on your portfolio as a kind of a thing that one of your spaces is in the Matterport gallery. So, and with that, let's go to Q&A. I'll open up. I'm gonna just go ahead and well, I'll leave this up and just go to the questions panel. Let's see here. Have you guys been getting your questions?
Yes, I am getting the questions. Some of the questions, I actually had one pop up. Am I able to take in the image files into recap or just the XYZ file? That's a great question. And I did gloss over that quickly. Is we do, I recommend, and Autodesk does as well. These steps that I'm suggesting is not just Mark Carroll, Matterport, making these suggestions. I'm following the recommended path that Autodesk lays out to bring in three-dimensional data into their program. So I am selecting the entire folder when I get into recap. I am not simply plucking out the XYZ file. As you know, there are associated texture files. And so by plucking out the XYZ and separating it from that folder, you will only have the XYZ, whereas the texture files are needed for that first step. So I always recommend importing the entire folder and not just the XYZ into recap. Somebody else asked before, and I typed in a response, but I'll say it out loud, that something like 3DS from Autodesk, can that Matterport also be used? The answer is yes. Our two-dimensional floor plan schematic does have an SVG vector file within it, and so that is able to be brought into other programs, like if you had Maya or different programs out there and you'd like to be able to connect to them. We have multiple outputs, but the best way, I believe, all the information one needs is inside of our MatterPak. Because the floor plan schematic, of course, is just the floor plan. It doesn't have any of the vertical heights or any other aspects of what was captured that day. So it's an easy way to get that deliverable, but I always recommend the MatterPak really does have all the information in it. It's to scale. It has all the measurement data in it. It's the tool that one needs. But so the programs were 3ds Max was the question, and then a Lumion. So Lumion is another type of CAD program software, and so programs like that can take the OBJ, our mesh file, as well as things like SketchUp or other programs like AutoCAD. They can take our XYZ or our OBJ. Our output is the same. So essentially, it's like Coke or Pepsi. Like, what do you choose? What do you prefer to have? I prefer to use this Autodesk program, and then I would say please use the XYZ file, associated texture files, and then if you have a SketchUp program or Lumion, then I'd say the OBJ is the path, though it is the same space, same MatterPak.
Great. Elizabeth, if you've got a question, go for it. Otherwise, I've got one here that's.
I've got a couple of questions. I'm just trying to see if I can answer them in the chat. So I'll just kind of pick a couple here. Will the staging have a variety of customizable objects to fit different property types? So yes, when you work through our partners, they have what's called, I know Rumi has what's called a lookbook. And they allow you to go through and select, you know, if you want a Scandinavian design or a mid-modern design, you can work with them through that. Same thing with VRPM. You will have the ability to look at different layouts and options, and you can work with the third party to do that. Just along those same lines, I think there was another question. So are you billed for virtual staging through the companies or through Matterport? You are billed through the other companies, so they are offering the service, the 3D staging service. So you'll work with them from everything from providing them the Matterport model to selecting the style to delivery time if you want any changes. You'll also send that to the third party, to either Rumi or VRPM. So you'll completely work with them to get that staged, and it really doesn't have much to do with Matterport other than you need a Matterport model to get started. Are you going to open up the beta to other companies other than those two? Yes, we do have that plan to open up a marketplace and allow our customers to choose whatever company they think will best fit their needs. So that will be probably, I wouldn't anticipate until 2021 at this point. Can you virtually stage just a few 360s within a tour? You'd have to work with Rumi on that, but I definitely believe they can do that. Absolutely. Can I use my own virtual staging software and do it myself? This is a great question. Yes. So if you have a, so let me caveat that. We have an SDK available currently that allows you to virtually stage your own models. So you know, if you have a developer eye and you know how to code in, you know, 3D object insertion, we do have that available. If you download our SDK, you can import your own 3D objects and do virtual staging on your own that way. So that's very exciting. Yes, you still have to go to the third party. And I think that's it for virtual staging questions. So I will turn it back over in case Mark has anything else before I go into some questions about floor plans.
Yeah, no problem.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good.
Good. So yeah,
okay, I've got one actually here that I can answer. What do you know?
Great.
Patrick asked about April tags. I don't know if this was already answered in the chat, Patrick, but there is. So April tags are like very large letter size. If you print it up, like 8.5 by 11 size QR codes. That's all it is. And in your Capture app, there's a setting to have visual alignment assist. So basically, it's just a QR code that you stick up on the wall. If you're doing larger, empty, repetitive spaces, that kind of thing, April tags can provide some kind of guidance to the system when aligning. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, and you can go to our help center at support.matterport.com, just search up April tags, and you'll find them there, as well as a link to download a PDF of April tags if you need to print them up if you are scanning those large places. So that's basically the kind of the short version of what an April tag is.
All right, I've got a couple more here if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I have here, listing the wholesale price for floor plans in TrueSketch makes it challenging to resell those services. Can these prices be made available only to sales reps selling enterprise solutions and Matterport service providers once they log in? So in our, Matterport, we need to attract customers as well. And a lot of those customers really adapt Matterport for specific reasons, especially those in the restoration industry. So when they're, going through, should I buy a camera? Should I not buy a camera? One of the things they really want to understand is the TrueSketch process. So outlining those prices is really necessary for us to gain those customers onto our platform. The good thing is that the prices are only listed on the beta sign-up form and the order form. They're not really public on any other forum, so you'd have to be pretty into the conversation already to see those prices, but we can't hide them. Same thing with schematic floor plans. We do need to attract people to our platform, and one of the things they want to know are what additional services we offer on top of Matterport, floor plans being one of them. So we do need to keep those prices public in order to keep people on our platform. So next question. It was answered in the presentation, but unfortunately we only offer those 2 file formats for floor plans. We do not offer a DWG currently. Is there a price for unlimited floor plans for the year? So you can definitely work with our enterprise reps. Just email them at sales, or if you have a specific rep that you're working with, and we can work out a deal for a bulk purchase of floor plans. So please reach out to sales with that. When will spaces over 25,000 K be supported? Unfortunately, I don't have a time frame for that right now. And I answered that one already. Answered that one already. Answered that one already.
I've got a question here. Actually, this is an interesting one. Diana asked, how can we edit floor plans and move walls and doors? So with those, are they still, Elizabeth, are they still available as an SVG?
Yes.
You know?
SVG.
Okay.
Yes.
That would be my recommendation. And if you are going to move walls in the schematic floor plans, when you download the schematic floor plans in the zip file, as Elizabeth mentioned, you get the PDF, you get the was it PNG, so you can take those and certainly edit them in any kind of photo editor, but also the SVG is a vector-based file format that you can take into something like Illustrator or other vector applications and tweak those walls there.
Yeah, one thing with that too is I think that that once a person uses, let's say if they're using the MatterPak, and they can use that to create a model in, let's say, their AutoCAD or their Revit or SketchUp, then they can have that completed model and then adjust those features within their program as well. So you could utilize that way as well. People say, if I need to have the information and change things. And the other thing is for the 2D mentioned, and Amir said this definitely, is the vector file will, if you stretch it out, it'll keep that shape and that size accurately, whereas the PDF that's available next to the SVG is not a vector file. So when you bring that into, let's say, an AutoCAD, that file is not a vector file. So if you stretch it out, it'll pixelate, which is why we have the SVG version.
And then I've got 2 quick questions that are important. Does the staging require vacant space, or can you remove any current furniture? So, so the Roomy partner, you'll need to work with a vacant space. With our VRPM partner, you can work with them to see what they can do to remove certain objects. And then the other one lends itself well, which is you recommend one virtual staging company over another for residential staging. They really do have similar pricing. The biggest difference, I believe, is turnaround time. So I know that VRPM, which is a UK-based company, has a much faster turnaround time than Roomy does, but Roomy is a little bit more versed in residential real estate staging. So, you know, it's really up to you. I wouldn't recommend one over the other. I will say that VRPM does commercial staging and Roomy does not. So I can't really recommend one over the other in terms of quality, but in terms of turnaround time, I know that VRPM is the winner there.
Very good. Looks like Zoila has a question here. When you forget to scan a room in a particular floor, how can you add it at the end? So yeah, that's actually not a problem at all with the Matterport system. It's not as though you have to scan, you know, everything in succession, and if you pass something, you can't go back to it. You can just pick up the camera, go back to an area that has previously been scanned, you know, not far away from that room that wasn't scanned. Start there, and the reason why I like to do that is because when you break that path of alignment, Capture has to look at, is going to look at all that data on the floor to know where you've positioned the camera. And so that could potentially be a lot of data. So to more quickly align and more accurately align, have, once you break that path of alignment, have the camera over a scan position, or extremely close at least to a scan position that you've already captured, and then start from there, scan into the room that you previously missed, and that's it. So yeah, that's actually not a problem at all.
I had one question. It said, can Matterport be used or accepted for square footage surveys in California? I'm actually not as familiar with that requirement about California. Amir, are you familiar with a California specific requirement for square footage?
I'm not familiar with California specific requirements and what those standards are, but I know we are compatible with RICS standards, RICS, and yeah, because floor plans are only available for models scanned with the Pro 2 or BLK. Those cameras, the Pro 2 is within 1% accurate. So yes, that does comply with RICS standards for floor plans. So I believe that should work with California, but I would have to look into that a little bit more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just to that RICS is California standard.
One little caveat too, my previous job, I was working in project management, and people think about ways to save money and things like surveys and things. You always still need to have a surveyor stamp surveys. So if you need a plat a survey or something that for building, this is not a replacement for what you would submit to a city or to municipality about a survey from a surveyor. That surveyor has to stamp it as you know the industry, things like that. So that would be an extra step. So someone to certify any survey that's taken if it's needed.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
So thank you both, Mark and Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining me this morning and helping present this information. I think this is super valuable and really good stuff for our listeners. So I do appreciate that.
Great. It was great. Thanks Amir for inviting us, and hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And thanks to all our listeners for taking the time to be with us this morning and ask all these great questions. We love seeing this feedback and these questions come in. This gives us a nice little platform to answer them live and for you to get that. But as as I mentioned before, if we weren't able to get to your question and you do want something answered, please do reach out to our support team. They're happy to help. And otherwise, we'll be back here with another shop talk in another 2 weeks. So do appreciate it, and we'll hope to see you then. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.